So in this video, we'll talk about software development life cycle, what are the phases in software development life cycle, and what are the various models used in software development life cycle. It is also called as SDLC. So this is very important to understand to become a successful tester. So we'll go more details into this topic and look into various phases in SDLC and various SDLC models. Subscribe to QATutorials to watch latest videos I post in this channel, and click on bell icon to get notifications whenever I post new videos. So let's get started and see what is the SDLC means and what are the phases, right? So SDLC stands for Software Development Life Cycle. It is basically a process which follows in software projects to develop a product in a systematic way and to develop a high quality product. So the basic aim of SDLC is to develop a high quality product, and it's a systematic process. So whoever wants to develop a high quality product or a project should follow these stages for a high quality product output, right? So what are the benefits of SDLC, right? So if you see, it provides visibility of a project plan to all the involved stakeholders. So it provides a systematic process which provides visibility to all stakeholders like customers, product owners, project managers, development team or testing team, or users. It provides a visibility, right? It helps to avoid project risks. So by following this process, you can reduce the risks and you can minimize the number of risks. So it allows to track and control the project. So it does not conclude until all the requirements have been achieved. So these are the benefits of following this SDLC process, right? So it provides visibility, it reduces the risk, and you can track the project easily and until all the requirements are done, so this process does not complete, right? That is the SDLC process. And let us see what are the phases in software development life cycle. So there is like 7 phases in software development life cycle. So I will show you one by one, explain all of them. So there is 7 phases. Phase 1 is requirement collection and analysis. Phase 2 is feasibility study. Phase 3 is design. Phase 4 coding. Phase 5 is testing. Then phase 6 is installation and deployment, and phase 7 is maintenance. Right, so for each phase, there is certain deliverables coming out of each phase, and some roles, some people are responsible for each phase. So I will explain what are the deliverables coming out of the phase and who will be responsible to create those deliverables. So if you take like a requirement collection and analysis, right? So it's a business analyst who collects requirements from customer or client as per the client business needs and documents the requirements in business requirement specification. So the main role is the business analyst who will do this requirement collection from customers. So you get a document, business requirement specification or business specification from this phase. So that is a phase 1, right? So you get business requirement specification. In phase 2, in feasibility study, so there is different factors that is taken into account, like economics, like can we complete the project within the budget or not? Can we handle all the law and other regulatory compliance, legal requirements, operational feasibility? Can we create operations which is expected by the client, right? Technical, need to check whether current computer system can support the software. So these are all comes under feasibility, whether we can do this within the budget, whether we can comply with all the legal and regulatory framework, right? Operational feasibility, schedule, how long does it take to complete the project? Can we complete it within the given schedule? And software requirement specification. So based on the feasibility study, you get an output of software requirement specifications, and who are the people involved in feasibility study is basically project manager, business analyst, and senior members of the team, right? So this is the feasibility study phase. So once feasibility study is done, you get software requirement specification. So from there you go to the design, right? So there in the design there are two level designs: high level design and low level design. So high level design, it gives architecture of the software product to be developed, is done by architects and senior developers. So it's a high level architecture. So low level design is basically at the coding level. It describes how each and every feature of the product should work and how every component should work. Here only the design will be there, not the code. So this is the low level design. So high level is done by architects, low level is done by senior developers, and how each component and each feature will be implemented and how it should work, right? So you get these designs from the design phase. Then you go to the coding phase, right? In the coding phase, we start building the software and start writing the code for the product. So people who are involved, developers at all levels, seniors, juniors, and freshers, and you get like source code document on the developed product coming out of this phase. That is the coding phase. Once coding is done, we go to the testing phase. So the testing team starts testing function of the entire system. This is done to verify that entire application works according to customer requirements. So you get like a quality product and testing artifacts as an output, as a deliverable from the testing phase. So once the testing phase is done, we go to the installation phase. Final software is released and checked for deployment of any issues, which is the responsibility of project manager, right? So once deployment is done, it will go to maintenance. Then it will basically basic bug fixing. So bugs are reported because of some scenarios not tested will be fixed and upgrade. There are also new upgrades of the application to the newer versions of the software, and enhancement, adding some new features into the existing software. So these are the 7 phases of software development life cycle. Basically requirement collection, feasibility, design, coding, testing, installation and deployment, and maintenance, right? So these are the various phases that is done in the software development life cycle. So all these phases, there is also something called models, SDLC models. So these phases will be implemented in each development project differently. Although the concept is same, the method followed in each SDLC phase is different. SDLC is different. So that is called as the method which followed to implement these SDLC phases is called SDLC models. Right? Let me show you these SDLC models. So these, by following these models, will implement these SDLC phases, right? So each team, different teams follow different models based on their requirements and the process they follow in the company. So let us see what are the various models, SDLC models that are currently followed in software development. So there's like 5 models we are discussing here. There's more than 5 models, but these are some of the popular models. So one is waterfall model, then spiral model, then V model, then prototype, and agile SDLC. So agile SDLC is more common nowadays, but it is important to know. So what are these models and what are the differences between these models to understand better, right? Let us look into waterfall model. This is the simplest model. This is followed from the beginning. Most of the old projects follow this model. So it's a traditional model. It's a sequential design process in which progress is seen as flowing downwards like waterfall, right, through different phases, right? So it goes through like requirements, feasibility, design, coding, testing, installation, and maintenance, right? So basically, it will follow one phase after another, right, as a waterfall, right? Every next phase is begin once the goal of the previous phase is finished, right? So suppose if requirement gathering is done, then we'll go to feasibility study. So if feasibility study is done, it will go to design, from design to coding, coding to testing, testing to installation, and installation to maintenance, right? This is the method of waterfall. So this is preferred in projects where quality is more important as compared to schedule and cost, right? So if there is a more priority for quality compared to the schedule and cost, a waterfall method is followed. This is mostly suitable for projects where requirements will not change, right? There is no change in the requirements. Requirements are clearly known in the beginning, so waterfall model is highly useful. Like some examples are calculators or attendance management and all, so you can use the waterfall model. Then we have something called spiral model. So spiral model works in iterative nature, right? So instead of going through sequence, it go through iterations, right? It's a combination of both prototype development process and linear development process, right? Waterfall model is linear development. So this model places more emphasis on risk analysis. So mostly this adapts to large and complicated products where risk is high. So it's basically iterative process, right? So if it is a complicated large project, so they will go through the spiral model. Every iteration starts with planning and ends with product evaluation by the client, right? So each phase, in each iteration, all the SDLC phases will be repeated, right? So there will be multiple iterations in the project. So it will like iterative process, right? That is spiral. Then there is something called V model. So V model is basically verification and validation model. So in this model, each phase of SDLC must be completed before the next phase starts. It follows a sequential process as the waterfall model. So this is similar to waterfall model, but it does the verification and validation at the same time, right? That is the V model. Then we have this prototype model. So prototype model is one of the most used software development life cycle. A prototype of end product is first developed prior to actual product. Usually, so this model is used when customer don't know the project requirements beforehand. Suppose if customer is not clear on what they want, so there will be prototype built so that the customer can give a try and see what are the features they need and what are the changes they need. So basically a customer prototype is built, right? So it takes less time to build a prototype, right? It starts by getting inputs from the customers and undergoes developing the prototype. By getting the customer feedback, requirements are refined, right? Actual product development starts once the customer approves the prototype. Then the developed product is released to the customer's feedback. Released product is refined as per customers. This process goes on until model is accepted by the customer. So this initially a prototype is built, then customer feedback is taken, then the new requirements are built again, and then it released to customer, and then the customer approves the product, right? Until the product is approved by the customer, this model is repeated. This is called prototype model, right? Then the last and most popular model is agile, right? Agile methodology, one of the popular agile software development methods. There are some of the other software development methods, but popular one is Agile Scrum methodology. So Agile Scrum methodology is a combination of both incremental and iterative model for managing product development. Right, so the currently Agile Scrum methodology is the most popular. Is basically incremental and iterative model. This means like the product is developed in incremental base with small iteration cycles. Right, so each cycle will have SDLC phases repeated. All the SDLC phases repeated in small sprints, and incremental product is built. So this is the Agile methodology. So these are the various models in SDLC and SDLC models, and we have SDLC phases, and we also discussed about what is SDLC and what is the main uses of following SDLC process in software development. Right? If you have any questions on or comments on this topic, please put in the comment section. I will reply as soon as possible, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.